Howdy, y'all. Thanks for joining us here on our Volume 6 of the Songwriter Sessions. Today, we've got our host, Ely Buck Davis, and guest, Kalin Whiteley. And this is in anticipation of the Songwriter Roundup, the next Songwriter Roundup, which will be August 21st at Wilson Valley Mercantile. Hey guys, thank y'all for being here with me today, and we're just going to get right to the questions here. So, Kalin, you've been in music for a while. What's your earliest musical memories, and what led you into songwriting?
Well, I was lucky enough to have a church that had music in it and had really good musicians. And so I started singing, by the time we were talking, they'd have us up on stage singing. And the pastor and his wife were both really good musicians, and they taught me a lot. The pastor's wife, she was a really good vocalist and taught me a lot about vocal work and all of that. And then I come from a fairly musical family. My dad and mom can both sing fairly well. My mom plays piano. My older sister, she's a really good singer and played piano some. And it was just always something that I enjoyed. We always had the radio going, whether it be, country or bluegrass or gospel, or my sister playing her pop and R&B. And then I just always enjoyed singing and wanted to pursue that somewhat. So I started playing drums. You can't really sing with that, so I picked up the guitar when I was 14 or 15 and pretty much self-taught. YouTube was coming along during that time and helped me a lot on that. And then playing at church, playing with others and just watching and just kind of sitting back, being quiet. But I learned a lot that way. And then as far as songwriting, I don't know. I just kind of had the itch to write my own stuff. I was always a quiet guy, quiet kid. And so I found a way to kind of tell my story or, my feelings. So that's kind of where the songwriting came along. And then I got into college and played parties and just hanging around with friends and stuff. And they always seemed to enjoy it. So I wasn't tied down. So I was like, what the heck? I'll move to Nashville and go over there and see what that's about. So I landed there for 8 years. And then I moved back to Arkansas 3 years ago and kind of been hanging out since then.
So what got you to thinking about moving to Nashville?
Well,
Did you go visit there or?
yeah, my aunt used to live there. My dad's sister lived there when I was, I don't know, 10 or so. She lived down around Cool Springs. They had nothing to do with music. They just landed jobs over there. So we went and visited them. And, from a small farm town in Arkansas, seeing that and all the music and stuff, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And so, honestly, when I got into high school and college, I tend to like the red dirt and Texas country more. That's what I was really into. And so it was between Nashville and Austin, and I really considered Austin. But a buddy of mine who played lead guitar that I played with some, he went to school at Clarksville, just north of Nashville. And so that's kind of what drew me over to Nashville. And we ended up not even playing with each other once we got over there. But that's how I ended up in Nashville rather than Austin.
Gotcha. What you mentioned
that.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, just, I love Austin. It's a really cool town. And part of me feels like, man, I wish I would have ended up there. But I don't regret any part of Nashville. I had a really cool experience over there.
Well, you mentioned the red dirt scene, and it leads me to something else. So I don't know if you remember, but the first time we met, when I met Kalin, John, he was playing a Brandon Ryder song. And I don't know if
you mentioned that other day.
Yeah, so Brandon Ryder has actually performed at Wilson Valley Mercantile. Hopefully we'll perform there again. But anyway, it just got me thinking, like, I don't know if I hadn't heard you playing that song, I don't know if we'd become friends, because it was just kind of a, like, well, I wasn't expecting to hear that on Midtown in Nashville, and it kind of opened my eyes to things too, because I was like, I didn't think anybody knew who Brandon Ryder was. Now, obviously now I know he's well respected and everything, especially in this area, but to hear that coming from someone in Nashville, and you were from Arkansas, I was just very intrigued by that. I was like, wow, I got to get to know this guy.
Yeah, I feel like I was one of the few people that played any type of red dirt or Texas country
for sure.
Nashville. You'd hear it every once in a while. A lot of the more popular songs, the more obscure songs, you wouldn't really hear around town. And I always tried to play a lot of those, in a cover gig or whatever it was, a writer's round where I might throw in a cover at a writer's round. I always tried to play some obscure red dirt stuff,
Well, that was interesting.
That's what
I was just going to say, that was interesting for me to watch, is that, when I first moved there, I see you playing this cover of a Red Dirt song, and then it seemed like just 2 years later, you see a lot of these people that we both look up to are playing and performing in the area. It's like they become more popular in that scene as well, and I found that
Yep.
pretty interesting because I feel like when I
Yep.
moved there, no one knew of Randy Rogers or some of these other cats. I'm sure some people did, but the mainstream audience that was living there at the time did not, for sure.
Right. It finally kind of spread over to that area and further beyond, Oklahoma, Arkansas, New Mexico, wherever more of the southwestern areas, southern area. They
For
finally
sure.
spread, and I think Cody Jinks had a lot to do with that. He
But
kind
yeah,
of, as far as the more mainstream listeners, and he was kind of on the verge of that mainstream, and I think he brought a lot of people over. And now Cody Johnson has done it as well.
yeah.
That, which I like.
I did
The
too.
more
Yeah.
people who listen to that stuff, the better.
Well,
I
and
don't
all
try
those,
to I don't try to gatekeep any of that stuff.
yeah. Well, and all those cats, and I learned this later too. They all write up there. They may play and perform most of their shows. They make most of their money in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, whatever. But they write a lot of songs on Music Row. They
Oh yeah,
collaborate with other artists from different areas. So I think
yeah,
that's pretty
yeah.
interesting too.
I would see all the time, following them on social media and stuff. I would see Randy Rogers and Wade Bowen, all those cats all
Yeah,
the time posting, and they're writing, over on Music Row and over
yeah.
in the Gulch and all that area. Yeah,
Well, and they could get away with it for the most part, except for geeks like me. They're like, oh crap, that's
yeah,
so and so.
yeah,
Sorry, John. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So I was going to say, you mentioned writing. Everybody's got their own process. How do you normally start? Is it just a lyric, an idea, something that a jingle that makes you
Usually
think of something? How does that work for you?
it depends. Yeah, a lot of the time it was me just plucking around on the guitar and finding a cool little riff, and then just start rambling to that riff or that progression, that chord progression. Every once in a while, it would be I would think of lyrics and put music to that, but it's usually music first, and then comes to lyrics
Okay.
secondly.
It makes me laugh. The plucking the guitar thing. There's Dub Miller does a cover of the Front Porch Song by Robert Earl, where he talks about being in the Dixie Chicken. I think Lyle Lovett was trying to play or something other. Nah, it doesn't matter who it was. Anyways, he used to run people off whenever they tried to play guitar there on the in the chicken or behind the chicken or whatever. Ended up he started letting them play, and somebody asked him why he started letting them play, because you never really, basically, well, you never know who they're going to turn out to be. And some pretty cool things can start in a place like that. So I don't know. I butchered the story a little bit, but
No, no. I feel the same way about your place. I feel like, all the talent that we've been bringing in there, like you just never know. We've already had some people that have accomplished, really great things. We've had our buddy, mutual friend Ryan Nelson has performed there, and, one of his songs just went platinum. So we've been congratulating him on that. But there's also people that may not be known or not have anything, like that to put in their resume, but it could happen,
Right.
and
And that always kills me when I don't know, the ones that have made it or whatever act all snobbish and
yeah,
anybody. I've watched people left and right that have made careers out of this that,
yeah,
you may not have guessed it back 10 years ago,
yeah,
which I feel like I'm a kind person and try to be kind to everybody anyway, but it
yeah,
bothers me when the ones that have made it, don't have time for the nobodies
yeah.
yeah.
but because you never know. You never know.
No, you don't.
Fortunately for our little clique, I guess you could say, I feel like everybody's pretty cool about it. They still communicate, the ones that have, kind of gone on to bigger and better things. But I have seen some other people from afar, like you said, that, that changes them big time. It's like, come on, man. I remember when you were, living in a crappy apartment with rats in it.
Hmm.
Whenever
I
I make
was
it big singing, I'm not going to be able to talk to you anymore, Eli. It's just how it's going to be.
Do what now?
And I said, whenever I make it big singing, I'm not going to be able to talk to you
Oh,
anymore.
my God. I heard you could play and sing. Erica told me, your wife.
She might have exaggerated a little bit. Although
was
apparently I did recently have a song written from something that I said. I know that Brian Kinsley, I sing in off key and whiskey.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
2 keys, I sing in off key and whiskey. That made me laugh.
That's a good line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been saying it for a long time. I can't take credit for it. I heard it somewhere else. So, well, the whole point of this interview is we're trying to build some hype for the Songwriter Roundup here at Wilson Valley Mercantile. We didn't mention that starting off, but it's a good time for a plug, I think. Next one being the 21st of this month. It'd be the third the third Thursday of the month. You'll be here joining us. Ely will be here hosting. What's a song that you'll be singing that evening that you wrote, and tell us the story behind it? Or better yet, tell us a story about, cause Ely has alluded that something like if you were to come to visit that you had to do the rounds around here or you couldn't stay with him is what I heard.
That's
Yeah.
what I was going to get into that. Kalin has been off the scene as far as performing for a while. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kalin, but you haven't really performed out live in a while. But
It's been a while.
I've been trying to get him back into it. And so, long story short, there was a band I don't know if you ever heard of that went on hiatus around 2010. We're in 2025 now. They're back together. They're touring again. It's Cross-Nated Ragweed. Kayla and I are both big fans. We talked about the Red Dirt scene earlier, and they were like the epitome of hey, I used the right word that time.
Good job.
They're the epitome of the Red Dirt, Texas country scene, and inspired both of us. I think I can speak for both of us saying that. But anyway, Kalin snagged us some tickets, and I don't know if you've heard all the hype about how to get these tickets, but it was a whole process. And Kalin was able to snag us some tickets and said that he needed a place to stay. And I told him, I was like, you can come down here and stay with us, but you have to go to the songwriter rounds with me. You got to get back out there, bring your guitar. And he's like, well, I don't know if I got enough for 3. I was like, figure it out. Throw some covers in there if you have to, but you have to do it or you're not coming. He's like, okay. So here we are. And then I forgot about the interview. I was like, oh, by the way, you also have to do a little podcast.
Well, the interviews are fairly new to the thing. So,
yeah.
I mean, so one little bit of backstory. So the reason that I was applauding Ely for using epitome correctly, because so this is the 6th songwriter series we've done. The previous 5, every time he said something, it was almost right, but it'd be like saying it was the escargot of the situation instead of the epitome. It sounded kind of close.
No, I think I actually said epiphany.
That was one of them, was epiphany instead of epitome. You're right.
That was close.
Escargot. I stand corrected.
Everybody knew what you meant.
Yeah.
We did. Oh, so
as long as you don't put that into your writing, you'll be all right.
Yeah, that would be bad.
I have ran across that, people playing at rounds or whatever, and they throw a word in there like, I don't think they know what that word means.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's out of context there.
Yeah, that's rough. Absolutely. I don't have the heart to tell them either.
No, I don't either. But let's see, a song that I'll be playing. I've got one. The one I want to talk about, I won't talk about yet. I'll talk about it when we're there. Ely probably knows which song I'm talking about.
Save the story.
It's also foul language.
Does it mention a particular song? Or not? Yeah. Okay.
It's a song about a song.
Yeah.
I've got one that I wrote. It's called Dance Alone Tonight. Just a lot of the songs that I've written are kind of made up stories based on something that they're loosely based on reality, I guess. And this is one that I don't know where I came up with the idea other than just being at the bar and, seeing this girl and wanting to dance with her. And the look on her face didn't seem like she was in the mood. So, I didn't approach her, but in my mind, I approached her in this manner. So I wrote the song about the way that I would have approached her, I guess. And my songs aren't really tightly based on anything, just my imaginary, what I would have done.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with basing songs on what you would have done.
Well, what I should have done.
What you should have done? Oh, that's
what I could have done.
What catches me, too, about Kalin's songs, and you'll hear it, too, John, because John you'll notice after the first couple of songs you play, it's like he's already singing along or whistling along or something. Even if he's busy making drinks or, serving folks or whatever, hosting, he's listening to the music the whole time. And I'm saying something nice about you, John. I don't know if you noticed that, but anyway.
I was waiting to find out where this was going before I decided what look needed.
Well, what I was saying is Kalin's songs are going to be stuck in your head from now on, and you're going to be pissed off that he's not going to come back and play more often because you're not, and that's another thing we can talk about another time, but have you considered putting these songs where people can hear them on the socials? Or I know you have some on YouTube. Do you have any originals out there that someone can find?
No, I don't currently. As far as doing any type of recording, man, I don't know. Like you said, I've been out of it for a while, and I might down the road, but that hasn't been a focus of mine lately.
Well,
but
this can be a separate trip. But if you want to come back down sometime, I know somebody that has a little recording equipment. We could get some solo acoustic track's done or something like that.
We do
Yep.
know a guy.
Yeah.
Actually, you know a
Oh.
couple of guys.
Yeah. John
And I wouldn't.
John
Go
came into this whole thing, I guess, by accident. I don't really know how to put that, but he has come a long way with his recording engineer skills.
Aw, two nice things in one interview. What the heck? Who are you, and what did you do with Ely?
Well, I used to tell him, hey, we need to hire an actual sound engineer. So now I'm saying nice things because I hurt his feelings. But no, I'm serious. Like, you know, it started with just the live streams and things. I could hear they're getting better, and then we started doing the still sessions, which is a whole different thing. It's a recording that showcase an artist, and then it also kind of helps us advertise the distillery and shows. I'll send you a link to one. They're really well done. But anyway, John has a production team come in and do the video, and John himself has been doing the audio, and they've been turning out really well. We do send them to a friend of ours for mastering, but otherwise, John's pretty much doing all the audio work. So anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. If you want to come back down and hang out, we can get some.
I'm always down to come down to Texas, man. I've been through Texas and been to Texas many times, and this will be my first trip of actually playing, so I'm excited. And thank you for having me. And yeah, this will be the first time, other than at your camper a couple of years ago. This is the first time I played a song in Texas officially.
Well, we're happy to have you coming, man.
That was the first time I'd heard your songs in like 8 years. I felt like I was like, you know, one of those people like going to an 80s concert, you know, that hadn't heard these songs. And I was like, oh my God, it was good.
Well,
stirring up some drunken nights.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, my next question is, what's next for you? And it sounds like it's playing at the round here at Wilson Valley Mercantile, and you've also got him at Liberty Tree for Wednesday, right, Ely?
Yes. We will be at Liberty Tree on Wednesday. So we'll get them broke in on Wednesday and be ready to go for Thursday.
Oh yeah, it'll be smooth sailing.
We've covered all the questions that I had, and we're right up at 20 minutes, so that's what we're kind of shooting to keep things at. Guys, thank y'all very much, and enjoy talking.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, thank you, John. I'm excited to come down, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely.